Hello and welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast. We are here immediately after the England versus Denmark game for our initial review and thoughts and just all-round wonderment as to what has just happened before our eyes. Tonight I am here with Liam O'Meara as per usual. Liam, how are you doing?
Very well. How you doing, Martin? You okay?
I'm all good. I'm good. I had a nice day in the sun. I was ready for a good game, but I think we've been let down. We'll get onto that in a minute. We've also got a special guest tonight, a man who has had more trips away to foreign countries to watch England than Luke Foley has had birdies on the golf course. It is my friend Fin Rhodes. Fin, how are you?
Hello Martin, how's it going?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. So, just to introduce yourself a little bit, you are a member of the England supporters group and travel far and wide to go and watch the Three Lions. You've already been out to Germany for the first game. How was that?
Yeah, it was a fantastic trip across to Germany. We travelled to Amsterdam Saturday morning, got a train across into Wuppertal, stayed there for 2 nights, travelled back Monday. Not the best performance in Gelsenkirchen, but we got 3 points, better than this evening's performance, I would say. Horrendous journey back to the hotel after the game, but no, it was a good trip.
So you're back here and then you're back out again for the last game, that's right, isn't it?
Correct, to fly back out Sunday for Tuesday night's game in Cologne.
Right. So, Liam.
Martin.
England won, Denmark won. What are your initial thoughts straight after this match?
Oh, what are my initial thoughts?
First thing that comes to your head, what has pissed you off the most? Because I can't see anyone being very happy with this result or performance.
I'm not so much pissed off as I am concerned that I'm pretty much now convinced that we won't do anything in this tournament. I think the team is completely dysfunctional, and I don't think there's any fixing it in this tournament. The midfield is too much of a problem, and that's not just restricted to the Trent Alexander-Arnold issue, which a lot of people were pointing towards. I think all three of them don't know what they're doing in an England team, and I include Bellingham in that. It's really, really disorganised. And you can change the front three all you want, but if you've got a midfield that isn't able to retain possession and compete, you're not going to do anything. Particularly in international football, where the game is really, really hides in the midfield.
So, right, we've got one more game coming up, and it's going to be our easiest one. We'll get onto that in a minute, or it's our easiest one on paper, should I say. Is there anything we can do? Is there anything worth doing from now? I mean, what would you change immediately? I mean, everyone's WhatsApp group have been going crazy all through that match. Oh, he should do this, should take this guy off, he should move this player. But what's the actual fix here? Is there one?
No, because there's no defensive midfielder. We've gone without a recognised defensive midfielder. Lewis Cook's probably the only English defensive midfielder playing football in the Premier League, and we haven't even really looked at him. Even Southgate recognised that problem after the game. There's no.
Yeah, Finn was talking to me just pre-pod about Finn. What was it that Southgate said about this?
He mentioned that we've never been able to replace Calvin Phillips,
which is mental. Do you know we could have picked Calvin Phillips if he was that desperate? He's not dead.
But would the British media and fans have allowed that? And I feel like this is where the problem lies, because everyone was so desperate to have. Essentially, the team that England are playing now is the one that everyone's been calling for. And that's what is most infuriating about this situation, is that it's easy just to blame Southgate, but the pressure that Southgate's been under to pick this team, when probably intrinsically he knows it's dysfunctional, he's probably just hoped that it would work, is the problem. So he can't do what would need to be done here, which is probably drop Rice and Bellingham. He can't do that. No, it's not about the better players. It's not about that now. It's about having a functional midfield that works and can essentially be a lifeblood of the team. Can't do that now, because essentially what will happen is there'd just be chaos if he did do it, because they're apparently not the problem. It's Kane or it's whoever, or Alexander-Arnold. It's so deeper. It's a mess. It really is.
It isn't. but I think, I don't know, to suggest dropping Rice is mental to me. And that's not, there's no bias in that scenario. He's just, but what I was wondering in that game is if he is having an off day, there is nothing else. There is no other solution to this midfield. He has to play. And if England want to win and do well, he has to play well. He has to be an 8, 9, 10 out of 10 every game. I mean, Finn, you've seen England up close a lot more than most. What did you make of that game? What were your initial thoughts?
It's not the best England performance I've ever watched. In fact, I thought we probably didn't deserve to go 1-0 up. They've gone to sleep at the back. Kyle Walker's played a lazy ball in field. It's ping-ponged around the box and the ball's in the back of the net, 1-0. They've had a pop shot. Very good goal. Pickford's not seen it. 1-1. They probably deserve to beat us over 90 minutes, I would say. I think the problem for me is Trent in midfield. We trialled it. We trialled it away at Malta, and then we played North Macedonia at Old Trafford, and he played in the same position. And it worked there. Now, too poor opposition. We're now trialling it in a major European competition. I don't think Trent can play. My personal view is I'd put Bellingham in the 8 because he can play box to box. Now, I know he's not been playing that for Real Madrid, and some people are saying crazy for saying that. But Foden's natural position is the 10. And I'd like to see the likes of Anthony Gordon on the left, as he is probably a lot more direct. And he has quite a good season for Newcastle. And he's not everyone's favourite player, but that's what I'd like.
But is that midfield safe enough?
You know, I mean, if I was manager, I wouldn't be playing 2 holding midfielders, because I think that going into the tournament, I thought 6 months ago, I thought that this is ours to lose. And then I seen the squad and I thought the defence is our Achilles heel. And to be honest, it's probably been the best part of our game in the past 2 games. I mean, Mark Gay, everyone writ him off, has been probably England's best player in the past 2 games. John Stones, he hasn't played amazing, but we've been relatively solid at the back. We defended well 1-0 the other night. Apart from the 1 goal that we conceded today, there wasn't a major threat on goal. We just played so deep in our own half that we had no outlet whatsoever.
I mean, Liam, if you look at the goal, the Denmark goal, it comes from our throwing at the back, Kane dropping deep again. And this is what has been our worry for ages when he drops so deep, is that it leaves us exposed, and he's played a wild ball across field. I mean, he's so good, it usually pays off for him, but this has always been coming. How do we combat this? I mean, their goals just piss me off big time, because it's come from something so sloppy, and that sloppy is just what I would describe this whole performance, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's sloppy. But I'd be, as much as Kane's made the error there.
Yeah, I'm not blaming.
Yeah,
no, I'm not. Yeah,
for me, that goal, even with the ball at his feet, is so preventable. It's basics. Like, we haven't got out to close that down.
Yeah.
And by doing that, Finn's right. Pickford can't see anything because his defenders are all stood in the way, not doing anything, making it more likely to concede. It's such a poor goal to concede. As much as it's a brilliant strike, absolutely taking nothing away from that.
No.
Defensively, it's so poor because that shot shouldn't be on. That should be blocked, or he has to shift the ball out wide. He shouldn't be getting his shot away from that distance.
I agree.
All.
Do you agree with Finn that Mark Gay's when Finn mentioned Mark Gay, I was thinking, as I was watching the match and as it was coming to a close, that he's probably the only player I can safely look at and think he's performing as well as he can do at the moment. And I think he's definitely been our best defender, and he's probably been our best overall player over the 2 games.
Maybe. I think everyone has lower expectations. I think he's benefited from everyone's lower expectations, to be completely honest. I actually don't think he's benefited anything special. And he nearly cost us the game today. I know he got back, but if that was a different player, he wouldn't have done. So he could have easily cost us the game today. And although it was a difficult pass to receive from Declan, I don't know if Declan Rice was really thinking playing that pass there. It was a really coward's pass, really. Sort of making no attempt to turn on the ball. Rice is a player I really like, but I was really disappointed with him tonight. So I keep coming back to him because I think he really, we had no grip in midfield, and that's his role in the squad. If he's not doing that, then I don't know what he does, because that's essentially his job. But no, I don't think Gay's been anything special. I just think we have a lower expectation. There's always someone like that in a tournament that essentially playing for a club in the bottom half of the league that essentially plays at their standard, and everyone thinks that they're the best thing ever.
No, I disagree, because he's next to John Stones, who's 5-time Premier League winning, Champions League winning defender, who's meant to be one of our best players.
Of them games. Pep doesn't trust him in consistently. So if he's England's better, we said this before. Like, John Stones is not a brilliant player. I don't know what
you said it before.
Alan Shearer, I don't know what he's talking about. This idea of, John Stones should be stepping at him. Like, what are you on about? Like, he does that for Man City when they're dictating 80% of the ball. He's not going to do that when we're on the back. But honestly, just like...
Another thing with Shearer, I'm glad you mentioned him, because on Corcom, he was, this is what we need to see. Trent stepping up through midfield because he made one run. Or Gallagher bursting from midfield. And Rice, I want to see him doing it as well. It's like, how many players do you want bombing forward, Alan Shearer? Have you ever played football? Like, he wants all our outfield 10 to be bombing forward at all times. It's like the guy's never done anything. I don't know what he's trying to say, but he isn't saying it right.
This is the new edgy Alan Shearer, though, isn't it? He's had a bit of a rebrand recently. He's trying to be the old cutting, angry, I'll get in Pep's face, Alan Shearer now. And yeah, it's a bit weird, to be honest. Look, you're gonna have bad games. We could easily be overreacting here, but I do think there's issues in the midfield.
Yeah, I don't think we are overreacting. Finn, would you agree that's two
below par
performances?
Massively. To be honest, the first half an hour in Gelsenkirchen, you probably couldn't have asked more from him. Bellingham was probably our best player, and then we scored, and it was just it's like we didn't know what to do. It's like a completely different team for the last 60 minutes. It was unbelievable. And to be honest, we probably shouldn't have hung on the way we did against Serbia. A draw would have been a fair result.
Maybe.
Here's the point, though. Just while we're on this, talk about Serbia, I don't know what Denmark was so happy about at the end of that game. They're on the brink of elimination for me. And they seem to be really clapping themselves on the back, considering they came third in the last tournament, was it? Or they didn't do a playoff, did they? But they're going to beat Serbia now to qualify. Really, a draw probably won't be enough.
No.
I don't see them beating Serbia, to be completely honest. So yeah, I don't know what they're all so happy about, because we were there for the taking tonight. In terms of who that draw's better for, it's undoubtedly better for England. I don't know what they were so happy about, to be completely honest.
Right.
I would like to point out, just before we move on, it's a horrendous performance, but based on it, I'm more than happy with the point. I watched it with my uncle, and I sat there when they scored, and I said, we're not coming out of this with a win, and I'll be happy with the point. In 2021, the COVID Euros, we beat Croatia 1-0, had a boring 0-0 draw to Scotland, got through the group. Qatar battered Iran, a boring 0-0 to USA, and then went through. So, look, it's not the greatest performance, but I am more than confident that we're going to go through. Listen, I don't think we'll win it, because big teams will just come and pull us apart if we play anything like that. But you'll hear a lot of the media panic and go, England with this and England with that and this, that and the other. But yeah, it was bad, but I think we'll be all right going forward.
Liam, are you worried about the media backlash from this one and how it might affect us going forward? Because even a draw probably gets us through.
I think it's already started. I think it's already started. I nipped out to the shop just after, and I do like listening to TalkSport just after, because I feel like they are the furthest on that in terms of the mainstream media that will go at it. Yeah. And their questions were really sharp to the players. So the players already know. They're under absolutely no illusions what certainly the media thinks of it, and / England fans. So questions towards Kieran Trippier is basically the fans were booing at that performance. Basically, after him saying how good of a point it was, basically fans were booing Kieran. Was that sort of performance that you're happy with? And it seemed like all the England players were saying the same thing about this idea of it being a point. But then Southgate kind of countered that and came out almost like apologetically admitting that it was a poor defeat. So, no, I wouldn't say I'm worried about it. But the players, they're probably in for a nasty shock. Some of these have had it quite comfortable for England, I'd say, in terms of the last few tournaments. I think this is, for me, in an international tournament, probably the worst performance since Iceland, I think, in terms of actual performance. That might seem a bit extreme, but I think I agree with Finn. We're very lucky to get a point, and it was really poor.
Finn actually said that to me just before we started. Them exact words. So I think that's the view shared all round. Finn, were there any positives for you, or is there any positives going forward?
One positive I did see, was hard to take out of that game. I thought Ollie Watkins looked bright when he come on, and I mean that may well be overshadowed because we were that bad before he come on. But it was nice to see him making runs in behind. I have no issue with Harry Kane dropping in, but in my opinion, you need two wide players that are going to push on to almost counteract the fact that once he comes back, you've got no one going forward. But for Ollie Watkins to basically change the dynamic and put it on the Danish defence, running behind and make them actually have to think for the last 20 minutes, probably one of the positives I took from the game.
Listen, Liam, everyone is saying pretty much what Finn's saying in terms of what we should be doing with our attack is having two out-and-out actual wide players. Saka plus a Gordon or Bowen, whoever you want on the left. But the Foden isn't anyone's first choice on the left at the moment other than Southgate's. And just because it's him doesn't mean that millions and millions of people are wrong. Like, we don't watch football and like we're nobodies who don't know anything. So how come... Why are we standing around letting stubbornness... Is it his stubbornness? Is it belief? I mean, this system I don't think can continue, especially if we're going to do anything, because it isn't fluid enough. It's clearly not cohesive enough in an attacking sense. I don't really know what my question is here, but what I am saying is that a lot of people are saying that the 11 should be a lot like Finn's described, with a Gordon or someone on out there on the left to allow Kane to do that. And if you want to drop Bellingham and put Foden there, do that, because Bellingham had a stinker, I thought, tonight. So
I don't know what your question is, but I kind of know what the answer's going to be to this. And I was sat thinking about it all the way through the game, and I thought, why are we not playing 4-4-2? What's wrong with 4-4-2? Does that not fit?
I thought that had died.
Yeah, why? You know, because the natural width that the idea is that those forward channels, but Watkins would run those channels.
Yeah.
And Kane could stay central, and they could have support from a natural left winger and a natural right winger, and a midfield where one stays, one goes. Like the most simple football formation, you know, a midfield two of Rice and Bellingham, a right winger of Saka, a left winger of Gordon, and a front two of Watkins and Kane, a right back of Kyle Walker, centre backs of Gay and Stones, and a left back of Trippier / Shaw when he's fit. Is it too simple?
Probably, yeah. That's probably the answer. It's too obvious. It's like that we just need to find. We seem to be a lot of square pegs in round holes at the moment.
Because with that, everyone will know the job. No one knows it. No one knows the job. Everyone knows the job in 4-4-2. If you're in a position, you know what you're doing. 4-4-2. Everyone knows that.
Ben, what's the vibe going to be like? So when are you flying back out Sunday?
Fly back out Sunday. England fans have been doing this for years. I don't think the vibe will be anything less than what it's been the past two games. I'm expecting the same amount of people, 50, 60 odd thousand in Cologne, and we go again.
Cologne, right. And then, what time is that? 8 o'clock or 5 o'clock? Oh, it's 8 o'clock, isn't it?
8 p.m. on Tuesday.
And then when are you home?
I come on Wednesday and then I'm going to fly back out Friday evening for the round of 16.
Do you know? So will that depend on where we finish in the group?
Yeah, so if we come second in the group, play this Saturday, and I've not actually looked into where that would be. I want to say it's Stuttgart, but I could be wrong. And then if we finish first, we play on the Sunday in Gelsenkirchen, which I'm already dreading going back to.
I believe it was pretty bad with some of the actions of certain groups of fans.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I didn't see any trouble, thankfully. To be honest, since I've been following England, I've seen little pockets, but nothing as bad as the media will suggest. However, post-game, left my seat at 10 to 11, walked into my hotel at 4 a.m, so just the 5 hours to get back to the hotel after the game. That was without stopping in a bar as well.
I gotta say, Liam, I'm pretty disappointed with that tonight. I thought, like,
it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right, man.
No, it doesn't come round enough for me to be all right about us drawing and having bad performances. I hate when I see players who I really like Rice and Trent and Kane, Foden and Saka. Everyone, if I see them having a bad game, it really fucking bums me out, man. So, I'm just annoyed that it seems like we're always pushing a big boulder up an hill, trying to get Southgate to eke out something more from this team when it feels like he can't. I mean, is that the vibe too, that he can't get any more out of this team? You feel like it? I feel like he doesn't give anything other than a good family vibe in the background. Doesn't push him along enough.
I don't know. I feel like he should have left at the last tournament. I think
maybe I'm asking for too much. I don't know.
Most people, things come to a natural end, don't they? I think he's had a good grip of his team, but I feel like he's struggling with some of the personalities in his team. I think that's going to be a challenge. So I feel dropping Kane tonight will have been a big deal for him. Like making that sub, I don't think that was easy. I don't think he did that lightly, and I feel like that'll have bothered him. And I feel in the same way I think dropping Rashford from the whole tournament will have bothered him. I think making these big decisions are hurting, and I think the biggest one is that Foden Bellingham one, because if both start the next game, I just think that's weak, because it's clear that it doesn't work, and England fans have no time for that after years of trying to make Lampard and Gerrard work. Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There's only, like, you don't. I nearly said you don't play two right backs. There's no two right backs, but we're doing that as well. So yeah, we'll see.
Right.
The only way I see him playing Foden and Bellingham together is a team like Slovenia. You should be able to afford to have a single Declan Rice covering your back four and push them two on, and you almost playing in two halves of your five front. So you'd have Foden, Bellingham, Saka, Kane, and whoever, and then your five at the back as your back four. You've added plus Declan Rice. That's the only way I can see him. You have to play the two in a 10 role and have if you had an outlet like a Gordon or a Bowen, then there's your outlet out wide, and just basically say to Foden and Bellingham, just play a free role. One of you is going to have to trap back and help if we're getting overloaded. But there's no way you can play Foden on the left again. And if he comes out with that team next week, he'll get absolutely ridiculed by the England fans.
No, not just that. I just don't see it work. I think we're going to be really lucky. But, like, we're not going to break teams down like that. So, yeah, it's got to change. And I just hope it does, and I hope they kick on, because just need a spark. A good performance against Slovenia might turn this whole thing round. Because we're still a win and a draw. Like, the reality of it is still all right, but the two performances have just been so concerning for me. Final thoughts then. Finn, wrap us up with final thoughts on this game, what we need to do for Southgate, and then predictions for the rest of the tournament.
Well, tonight's game evidently really poor. I don't think it could get worse. It does need to change it up. When I seen the same lineup tonight, I I was concerned straight away. He does need to change things. Listen, I'm not the manager, and I've put my sixpence across. He's only going to change it the way that he thinks. Whether that continues in the same formation and he plays Kobe Mainu or starts Conor Gallagher, I don't know. I think we'll get out of the group. I do think we'll beat Slovenia and top the group. And then, yeah, I think with the squad that we've got, and this is sort of talking pre-tournament, the squad that we've got, the aim is a semi-final. If you're not reaching a semi-final with that crop of players, then there's something severely wrong. Whether we get there now based on the passive performances, I don't know.
Liam, same to you.
My final thoughts are that it worked out all right for me because I had 1-1 in the prediction league, so it's not all bad news. And it's probably not coming home. Sorry.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. We will be back on Monday. Finn will be out in Germany flying the flag for us. We'll be back with another preview of Slovenia match. We'll wrap up some predictions league stuff. I think one of our guests is going to be top by the end of tonight, so we'll see how the weekend goes. Thank you everyone for joining. Finn, thank you very much for joining us. All the best in Germany, mate.
Well.
Liam, thanks as always.
It's all right.
You two are both very welcome as well, but no worries. You can find all the information at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com, and we will see you next week. And it's still coming home. Come on, England.